This is James Altucher at TheStreet.com TV. I'm here again with the young Jim Cramer to talk about hedge funds, TV, and stocks. So, Jim, I've been watching you for the past decade. First, CNBC occasional commentator, then Kudlow and Cramer, now your show. And over that time, I've kind of seen the persona evolve. You have a very intense persona on TV, and it's very different from the persona you have like when we do these interviews and so on. So I'm curious for a couple of reasons, but where's the reality, where's the persona,
Okay.
how does it blend?
Look, it's an entertainment show, and I entertain on it. Now, there's a lot of stream of consciousness, but remember, the A block, the B block, and the D block after Lightning Round are actually written pieces, although people think that I'm ad-libbing it. I happen to be a decent actor. But most of it is an act. In reality, I'm kind of like a much more pensive, mellow guy. I know that sounds odd, but it's true. What I do want to do with that show is to give you a Jon Stewart version of business. I always find it to be so interesting that there'll be people who live or die by it because it is just a TV show. But what I'm trying to do is bring new people in. That's my new mission. Earlier, it was to try to educate people how to trade and how to invest online or understanding the homework. Now I'm just trying to get people who wouldn't be interested in business otherwise. I was crossing the street today at 85th Street, and a guy stops me and wants his picture with me. I said, well, tell me about your background. He's a junior at Regis High School. Well, I mean, I love that. They all watch the show. So my mission is to get those people in. The people who think that my mission is to be a clown, really misinterpret. I mean, I obviously am clownish at times because you're dialing around. It's a competitive marketplace. But that doesn't make me into a Salvador Dali lithograph. What I really am is trying to create a new, I mean, maybe it's Jackson Pollock. They get a lot of money for this. I'm trying to do something different from the classic Cezanne, Picasso. Like, you take the spots and dots courses, okay? And there's this, like, this evolution from Renoir to Cezanne to Picasso to Braque to,
To Warhol, though.
Ultimately to Warhol. And I think people think I'm at the Warhol stage, okay? Which would be great. I mean, he's great. He was great. But what I'm saying is I'm just trying to break with the realists. That's all I'm trying to do is break with the realists. And when you go to Impressionists, there are people who are going to hate that. And that's where I am. I mean, I'm more like the Cezanne architectonic description of fruit than I am the photographic kind. And people are rebelling against the Impressionism as if I'm like some sort of heretic. Give me a break.
Well, let me ask you this. Let's say you were still at your hedge fund.
Right.
And there was this guy on TV who, for better or for worse, and I know you say in your book, don't game the show at all.
Right.
And correctly, you say it. But every now and then, you say a stock, the next day it's gapping up 10%.
Okay, well, here, let me
How would you game it?
They cut this out. The lawyers cut this out the other day, and it kind of drove me crazy. I met someone at the Atlantis when I was vacationing with my kids, and he's a friend of mine from Summit. And all he does is short the stocks at the opening and buy them back for 20 and 30 cent increments later in the day. And so I wanted to tell his story. The network didn't want me to tell his story, but that's the easiest money in town. And I've said it in many different forms on my show. I was never direct about what this guy was doing, but that's so obvious to me that I can't believe people are still willing to go buy. Is it thrilling to me to read the stories that I moved the stock? Initially it was. Not anymore, because I know that the easy money is to bet against me for the morning.
For the morning.
Right.
So
I recommended eBay last night, okay? I think eBay's terrific. I think eBay's going much higher. I recommended first at 31. I candidly stayed negative from 50 to 26. I made that mistake. I missed 5 points, and you can be very angry at me that I missed 5 points. I respect that. But when I say respect, I mean honestly. I mean, like, I would love to have nailed it at 26. I didn't. Ted Williams, he probably wanted to hit 500 that year. He hit 400. But the thing is that I think eBay's going up, but I don't think it's going up the next day. I think that eBay is going to report good numbers and go up. And I happen to choose to do eBay because that's when my information's fresh. But the idea of buying eBay because Cramer says it's about to happen, I've never in the last year of the show picked a stock that I said is tomorrow's buy. I have said that I would get started if you did the homework, but people misinterpret the show. That's why I wrote the darn book.
Well, it's interesting you bring up eBay because I think for the past year, Wall Street's been discounting the Skype acquisition.
Right. They've been saying how stupid.
Yeah, they can't forget that one line.
Right.
And so, okay, eBay made one mistake out of 100.
Well, maybe they made a mistake buying $2.5 billion. They paid $2.8 for Skype. They bought back $2.5 billion in stock. I like to look at these things and say, okay, look, Yahoo bought from Mark Cuban. They bought this ridiculously horrible radio acquisition, internet radio, and broadcast.com. And that was just amazingly, colossally bad. And then the stock went up 400 points.
Well, and it's interesting about Yahoo. Like, everybody's criticizing Yahoo for not spending $1.5 billion
Right.
on either Facebook or YouTube.
Right.
But if you look at the acquisitions they've been doing, Delicious, Flickr, MyBlogLog, these are smart acquisitions.
I think Yahoo's a changed company. I think that the problem was this guy, Dan Rosenwag. I think he was bad. He sells stock every day. When I say bad, I mean bad. I mean, one of the things that happens in real life that we don't ever talk about in stocks is like you'll meet someone at a company and you'll say, boy, that guy's not very smart, or that guy's not. This happens every day. Well, it happens too at the C-level, so to speak. I mean, the guy, Yahoo, Dan Rosenzweig, he was a hack. It's okay. People are hacks. I was a hack when I worked for the LA Herald Examiner. I used to go out and have 3 scotches a day because I hated my job. I was a bona fide hack. And then I left to another place and I wasn't a hack. Rosenzweig's a hack.
Well, on that note, thanks very much, Jim. Thank you to Street.com.